Back from a bit of a hiatus yesterday. Took a personal day to take care of some personal business and go to the MAC tournament last night in Atlantic City. But we are back in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios with a busy Power Hour coming up. We got Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday joining us in less than 15 minutes from now, along with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press coming up at around 6:40 tonight. As always, you guys can join the conversation. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. So let's get into some of the details because we have now crossed the threshold of 4 p.m. And as we cross the threshold of 4 p.m., we are now into the world where things and reports and rumors and speculation, it's all official. And so the Philadelphia Eagles have officially moved on Kenny Pickett to the Cleveland Browns, C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Houston Texans. What's also interesting is that instead of trying to save money, the Eagles are letting Darius Slay and James Bradbury, they're releasing them earlier. They're not waiting for June 1st for the post-cut. So the Eagles have decided they will take the cap hits for both of those players in order to let them both be free. They're freeing all the birds to go out and do whatever they want. And apparently for Darius Slay, that means go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will be curious to hear what Slay has to say on his podcast about this whole thing because, and I never try to be the guy who accuses people of being a liar, but Slay was very adamant on his podcast, on the St. Brown Brothers podcast, on the Facility show. He was very, very insistent that if he was going to go anywhere, it was going to be Philadelphia or Detroit. And then he ends up with the Steelers. So I can't wait to hear his explanation for that because, again, I'm not saying he's a liar. Circumstances change, situations change, and that does create a dynamic for people to do different things. But when you listen to what C.J. Gardner-Johnson said, now I wasn't here yesterday, here with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. So I know for me, I did not get to talk about all of what happened yesterday on the radio. And I want to bring back for all of you who didn't hear it, what C.J. Gardner-Johnson said, because I think that this audio really explains what is going on in Philadelphia, because the Eagles are not losing multiple players to be irresponsible, to gut the team or anything. There's a bigger picture going on here than some people on social media are trying to portray. So this is from C.J. Gardner-Johnson's Twitch stream. For those who don't know, he streams while he plays video games and talks to people who watch him. This is what he said when he found out about the Eagles trading him to the Houston Texans.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought they were fools. I ain't gonna lie. I saw 3-1. I'm like, they were fools. They damn sure got me. They playing crazy with me right now. But no, it wasn't no love law. It wasn't no bad blood. It was a great phone call. Great phone call. It was an amazing phone call to be all the way thorough. Great phone call.
And I think the reason why he has such a positive reaction, or why Slay on the Big Play Slay podcast had such a positive response to Howie Roseman letting him hit free agency, is because I think these guys have been told up front what is going on. They have been detail explained what the plan is, what's going on. These guys are not being, lied to or manipulated. I think that's a big reason why you have different people saying, look, the Eagles are an organization that does it right. The reason why the Eagles are an organization that people say do things the right way, because you have guys like CJ Gardner-Johnson, guys like Big Play Slay and others saying, hey, look, the Eagles called me, they communicated with me, they told me what was going on, etc. I think that's a big part of this conversation, is that this is an organization that does not just flippantly get rid of people, and for the idiots online who keep saying, all the Eagles ever do is get rid of people. I'm just so tired of the just blatant ignorance of people out there, okay? And listen, if you guys think I'm wrong for saying this, let me know. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We're also live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. When the Eagles, in the pre-Jeffrey Lurie era, when the Eagles lost Reggie White to the Packers, when the Eagles dumped unceremoniously Randall Cunningham and kicked him out of town, right? When they moved on from some of these popular players, it was because the Philadelphia Eagles were an organization that was cheap. They were an organization that was not well run. They're a completely different organization now. And when Joe Banner moved on from Brian Dawkins, it was part of a organizational policy. We don't pay top dollar for guys who are hitting a certain age. Chip Kelly traded LaShawn McCoy away because they just didn't like him, basically. So those situations are totally different than this. The Eagles are the number one cash spending team in the NFL, according to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. They are the team that spends the most money on bonuses and on upfront money and guaranteed money. So it's not the Eagles are afraid to spend money, but they look at, whether we agree with it or not, they look at Darius Slay and say, we don't think he's worth $10 million guaranteed. Now, maybe the Eagles would have said he's worth $8 million guaranteed. I don't know. I'm not in those conversations. But whatever the conversation was, it was a positive one for Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson, who are not here. And for CJ Gardner-Johnson, you got to look at him and think he's pretty happy, because he's going to a team that he is going to fit in with very well in a secondary that he is only going to elevate. And if you are a betting man, please bet responsibly. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you're a betting man, you might want to take the Texans to win the division next year, because that defense just got a heck of a lot better. We'll get more into the details of the CJ Gardner-Johnson deal and get your guys' thoughts as well throughout the hour. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Coming up on the other side, we'll get more into the state of the Eagles on day one of the new NFL year. Dave Weinberg joins me here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Wednesday night.
Listen to all the bet. March Madness is coming to 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's back. It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns, for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum 10 grand for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter, happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account imported on $60 plan. First service charge and tax to its sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Want to stay out of the dark the next time a storm hits? Then reach out to Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit calvielectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Have you checked out the most loved Indian restaurant in South Jersey? The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is amazing and ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. At Nizam's, they believe that dining is more than just great food. It's the whole experience. The Nizam's open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30. Join them for a special lunch buffet on Sundays from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Sixers on the road tonight to take on the Toronto Raptors, coming off a loss Monday in Atlanta. They have dropped 4 of their last 5 and 7 straight on the road. Coverage starts at 7:30 here on 97.3 ESPN. Tyrese Maxey has been ruled out. He continues to deal with injuries to his back and finger. Paul George also remaining out for tonight's game. The Flyers are back on the ice Thursday, hosting Tampa Bay. Tuesday, they fell to Ottawa 5-2. They trailed 1-0 24 seconds into the game and now have lost 5 straight. Coverage starts Thursday at 7 right here on 97.3 ESPN. NFL former Philadelphia Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell now with the Pittsburgh Steelers getting a 1-year deal. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry playing behind Saquon Barkley last season. And with the NCAA tournament starting next week, a reminder, all the games can be heard right here on 97.3 ESPN. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Onshore breezes and abundant cloud cover will make for less than stellar weather over the next few days, especially the closer you are to the coast. Increasing clouds tonight, low temperature dips to around 40 degrees. And tomorrow, pretty cloudy, maybe a bit foggy at times, and cool, high temperature limited to 47. Mostly cloudy Friday, high 53. We'll jump back into the 60s this weekend. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check on the text board a little bit later this hour. Dan and EHT and others coming in at 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. But right now, joining us, Dave Weinberg is back for an edition of Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, welcome back in. How you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So, one of the conversations, obviously, as we are officially, quote unquote, in the NFL's new season, is the fact that there is a perception by some, not all Eagle fans, that you know how people are. They want instant gratification, instant satisfaction. So the sky is falling because the Eagles have lost some players and they haven't gone out and bought an entire team like the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way it goes. I mean the byproduct of success is that teams are going to want your players, and um, they've lost a few, no question about it. And that was kind of to be expected, I think. They didn't make an immediate splash themselves, other than I think retaining Zach Bond can't be underestimated. I think that's a huge deal for them to be able to keep him in the fold. Extended Saquon Barkley, so he'll be here for foreseeable future, and yeah, I mean, and they traded for a guard, I guess, which means probably Becton's probably gone, I would think, at some point. But it's a long off season. No, nobody should be panicking. I mean, they still have plenty of talent here, and they're going to add through the draft. They're going to add through free agency. Maybe not like a dynamic, mega star, but like Miles Garrett. But Howie has a way of filling needs, with the right fits for the culture and the lineup. So I think Eagles fans should probably just relax a little bit.
One thing is also interesting is that because they acquired Green, the guard from the Texans, and they could still bring back Becton.
Sure.
It's obviously been suggested by some people that the Eagles are kind of indirectly telling Becton the ball's in your court. If you want to be here, we'll take
Sure.
you, but we're not going to pay you X number.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right. Sure. Yeah.
So
That makes sense, though, I would think.
yeah, and I think that, and it's not to be mean, but even Chris Long said on his podcast, he said, it's kind of a way I tell Becton, hey, we got Jeff Stoutland, you're not that special, kind of thing, and it's like, and it's not to be mean, but Stoutland has literally turned, chicken bleep into a chicken salad numerous times at this point. So it's like, hey, give him another, raw prospect. And by the way, Green is only 23 years old. People don't realize how young he is. He came into the NFL. And when was the last time, Dave, you heard of a 20-year-old rookie in the NFL? I mean, it's wild.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Jeff he's earned the reputation as being some sort of offensive line guru, a savant, and he's proven it time and time again. I mean, Jordan Mailata is the most ideal example of the fact that the guy never played football in his life before, let alone the position he's playing, and now he's a Pro Bowl level guard or left tackle. I'm sorry. So, yeah. I mean, there's no reason to doubt Stoutland's ability to take whatever he's given and mold it into a top notch offensive line.
ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter reported, Dave, that the Eagles are the team that spends the most cash in terms of bonuses and guaranteed money in the NFL. What does that say to you about the Eagles organization?
It says that they're willing to reward their players for performance and possibly future performances as well. They care about their players, then they're thrilled when they do well, and they're willing to reward them for it. And they don't. It's not necessarily a wait and see approach with them. They make sure that they like I said, pay out bonuses, pay out whatever it is that the players earn, and yeah, that's a credit to Jeffrey Lurie and Harry Richmond that that's why players want to come here. That's part of the reason they want to come here, because they know they're going to get rewarded when they do well.
Talk with Dave Weinberg, longtime Eagles beat writer, of course, extra point columns at 973ESPN.com, which is each and every Wednesday for Weinberg Wednesdays here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, they did sign a running back about an hour ago, A.J. Dillon, coming off of a neck injury. So this is the classic, buy low, potential high potential kind of deal that Howie Roseman likes to do. I do find it intriguing, though, that Kenny Gainwell, who left for the Steelers, was kind of like their primary third down back, and maybe the assumption people have as well, Will Shipley would just slide in there. And today the Eagles basically signed the only running back in the league who's got bigger legs than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, it's kind of curious. I didn't know that they had signed him, but yeah, I assumed that Shipley would be, the next in line, and I think he will be, but it can't hurt to have depth at that position, especially running back where injuries happen all the time, and if AJ Dillon can stay healthy, I'm sure he'll add he'll be an interesting addition to that backfield. I think anyway.
The Eagles obviously are a team that has done a great job building through the trenches, Dave. So do you anticipate them keeping their first round pick and using that in the trenches, or do you think there's going to be a repeat of 2018 when they traded away to another team that was desperate for a quarterback, i.e., when they traded it to Baltimore to get Lamar Jackson?
Boy, that's a good question. If the team needs a quarterback, is what we're saying, passing quarterback. No one's good. They're not going to get the guy that they really want at 32, right? So, I would think that a team that wants a quarterback in that area can wait till the second round or whatever and get the guy that they want. I don't think there's going to be like a must-have quarterback at that point. So, I that's a hard question. I think the Eagles are. I think they're going to keep it because there's a lot of depth in the trenches this year in the draft. So I think they're going to be able to get a good quality player. But by the same token, they could also move down and still get a good guy, so a good player at that spot. So I guess it all depends on what another team offers them, whether they move out or not, out of the first round or not.
Yeah, see, my opinion is, and I understand people like the idea of Howie making trades, Howie season, blah, blah, blah. But I think the Eagles genuinely value that 5th year you can get out of a rookie contract. And I think it allows you to kick the money down the road even further. And it just seems like a move for an organization that in the next couple of years, Dave, has got to shell out contracts to guys like Jalen Carter and then Quinyon Mitchell. And let's not forget, Cam Jurgens is eventually going to need a new contract. So it's like, if this team is going to maintain their continuity, they're going to, as Howie Roseman said at the Combine this year, they're going to need more young players to fill in roles.
Right, that's true. Yeah, yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. I mean, I guess as Jordan Davis is his 5th year option coming up, I think. So they want to wait and see how he does this year before if they exercise it or not. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong there, but it's yeah, they do value that 5th year. You're right, and I'm just wondering, has anybody talked about them moving up for anything, or is it more pretty much just stay pat or move out or move down?
I mean, I haven't seen anything about them moving up, but it doesn't mean they won't. By the way, this is the last year of money on the Jordan contract before the club option will be 2026.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they got actually 2 years to figure it out. If they really wanted to drag this thing out with Jordan Davis. But the thing is, I have seen nothing, Dave, about them moving up in the draft this year. Now, I don't know if it just means they don't care to, or because Howie's keeping it close. I mean, they got like 4 or 5 5th-round picks at this point, and they got, I believe the report was they have 20 draft picks over the next couple of years altogether. So, I mean, if Howie did move up, at least he has enough draft capital to play around with if he really wanted to.
Right. And I've been campaigning for a while now to go up and get Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end. I just think he's going to be like a once in a generation guy, and I don't know if the Eagles have the draft capital to do it, but I think Dallas Goedert's probably towards the end, just like Brent Selleck was, just like Zach Ertz was, and now I think Dallas is kind of in that same ballpark. I would do what I can, if I can, to move up. I don't know how high he's going to go. I've seen 7th in some drafts. I've seen 12, 15. If he's still there, like at 12 or something like that, I would behoove the Eagles to move up and get him. I think he's going to be that good.
I mean, I just randomly pulled up any random website, and they got him going 14th to the Colts right now.
I would definitely move up there then if I can.
You know, it's weird because you mentioned about the whole history of the Eagles drafting tight ends. To me, the big difference is that Zach Ertz was not frequently injured like Dallas Goedert has been.
Right.
Ertz was just kind of getting to that age where you realize that he couldn't be the centerpiece of the offense anymore just because of how much. It's kind of like how Devontae Adams went and signed with the Rams. And it's like, well, he's signing that inexpensive deal because he knows he's not number 1 receiver anymore. He can still be a very good 2 receiver. Whereas with Ertz, it was like he wasn't injured like Goddard is. he was just at an advanced age where I think the Eagles are trying to be proactive. I mean, Goddard has been injured every single year with something, and there's got to be a point where if you're, I don't care who you are, you might be the biggest Dallas Goddard fan. Even people got to admit, be like, maybe Dallas is, maybe he's just going to just break down one and never get back up.
Right, right. And I guess it's worth noting that the Eagles don't usually draft tight ends in the first round, right? I guess probably Keith Jackson
True.
might be the last one in some supplemental draft years ago,
Yeah.
decades ago. And both Ertz and Goddard were second round picks, I believe. So maybe there's a guy there that they value, or down at 32, maybe they think there's a guy that, the same kind of caliber with the same kind of potential that they're just wait and sit and get. I think Warren's going to be terrific. Just for everything I've watched, it's just blows me away.
Yeah, Warren is definitely like the stud of the studs, if you want to like put it that way. To me, the tight end that's later in the draft, I could definitely see them maybe going to get is a guy like Elijah Arroyo from Miami. Just one of those like really big, really athletic guys. And you know how the Eagles are. They don't even care if you're the best at anything. They just want to know if you fit the culture. And he's a guy who, I mean, he fit Mario Cristobal's culture, and Mario Cristobal is much more of an NFL coach than he is a college coach. So to me, I could totally see them going to get a guy like Elijah Arroyo, or I'm trying to think of the other guy, the guy from Texas. Oh my goodness, what is his name?
I don't know.
Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm. I knew he had a weird name. Gunnar Helm.
That's a cool name. Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about there's a pro wrestler named Gunnar right now, so I was trying to think of, but I didn't want to just say the guy's first name without the last name. That was pretty dumb. But again, another just big body guy who can do different things, and I think that's kind of where they're going to go with this. I think they could get a guy, as you said, in the second round. I mean, heck, didn't they just hired, what's his name from Bowling Green, the former head coach who's now the quarterback coach. There's a tight end from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin. He's in the draft. Maybe they go get him.
There you go. Possibly. I guess there's a few players that probably fit their idea of what they want in a tight end.
Dave, I was gonna say, you remember 2018. Nobody knew who Dallas Goedert was. People were like, where does South Dakota State? It's like
right. Yep, exactly right. Yep, very true.
People at least knew who Ertz was because he went to Stanford. He was catching balls from Andrew Luck. I don't think anybody knew who Selleck was. I think Selleck was a third or fourth round pick.
I'm sorry, who?
Selleck.
Selleck he was like fifth or sixth.
Yeah, he was like from Cincinnati. Yeah, so
he was way
nobody
down
knew
the
who
draft.
he was either. So
yep.
You might want Tyler Warren, but you might get somebody who's perfect for the Eagles.
Yeah,
in the second or
that's
third
true.
round,
Yeah, they know better than me. So
I just
see what I see.
Howie does.
I watched a lot of Penn State and he just amazed me, the stuff that he can do. But
well, what's crazy is because I was talking before you came on, because I see a lot of people putting memes out there being like, Eagles always lose my favorite player. And I was pointing out, I was like, it's not an apples to apples comparison. Like before Jeffrey Lurie came along, the Eagles were a cheap organization. Like they didn't really spend money. And then
under Brayman,
Chip Kelly couldn't get along with people. So that's why Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy were kicked out of town. And
correct.
Joe Banner even admits to this day he was wrong in letting Brian Dawkins go, because they had, you remember, Dave, they had that philosophy. Once you hit a certain age, they weren't paying people. So it's like I don't like people comparing all of those situations to now. It's like, oh no, Milton Williams is gone. It's like it's not an apples to apples comparison.
No, it's not. No, they have a certain way of doing things. You can't like you said, you can't go to the Chip Kelly era or before that and try to equate it to what's going on now. No, it's not. It's totally different. The culture's different. The coachings are different. The personnel department's different. It's it's not the same. Definitely. I'm really curious about the CJ Gardner-Johnson thing, though. There must have been something there that they just didn't like. Whether it's on the field or off the field, or I don't know, but it's
weird.
really curious to me.
Well, it's like, remember the first time CJ got let go? He was mad. He was all mad, and he got on his Twitch stream and started cursing out the Eagles and the organization and everything. This time he gets traded, And he basically is almost crying. He's like, I had a great call with Howie Roseman. Everything was great. I love the Eagles organization. They're so good to me. And then just like, all right, well, it can't be that. It's not like they told him off. So
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just real curious. Do they think that Sidney Brown is that good? That it just seemed like they didn't have anything like behind him uh, to warrant this. I don't know. There's got to be something behind the scenes that I'm just not getting or understanding.
Well, there's a speculation out there that they could go reunite Fangio and his former safety Justin Simmons, because Simmons was on a podcast yesterday, and he basically said that the Eagles are basically like his number one choice where he would go in free agency. So I mean, if you sign a guy like Simmons for maybe 1 year, and let the rest of the guys develop, I guess that's an option.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like when you think about it, yep.
The move that surprises me, Dave, was Isaiah Rodgers, because I didn't feel like the money he got from the Vikings, which was basically $8 million guaranteed, I don't feel like that should have been a number that kept the Eagles from signing him. So either they got their eyes on another cornerback, or they really love the idea of like Ringo or DeJean or somebody moving to the outside.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wasn't surprised about Slay. I don't see any problem with him moving on at all. I know some people love him, but I was just never a big fan on or off the field. I just don't care for the guy. But anyway, but Rodgers is interesting. You're right. They should have been able to if they really wanted him, they could have retained him. Yeah, I don't, I'm not getting that move either, because you do have Mitchell and DeJean, but what do you have after that? Ringo maybe, and like you said, maybe there's somebody in the draft they like, or another free agent. I don't know. Yeah, that was curious to me as well, that they let Rodgers get to the Vikings.
He's Dave Weinberg. Of course, you guys extra point columns over at 973ESPN.com, at Dave Weinberg 19 on the Twitter X platform. And he joined us right here each and every week for Weinberg Wednesdays here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, appreciate the conversation as always.
Oh, my pleasure, Josh. I really enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Of course, all kinds of Eagles coverage throughout the whole offseason here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. And don't forget, game night being brought to you by the return of boxing, the Tropicana Atlantic City showroom. Boxing Insider Promotions presents the next big boxing card in Atlantic City. Not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 undefeated New Jersey fighters, all in action, headlined by undefeated Atlantic City fighter Justin Figueroa, Abscami High School's Bruce Selden Jr., and the professional debut of Pleasantville, Julio Sanchez III. Yes, get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com so you do not miss out on this action-packed event on Saturday, March 22nd, inside the Tropicana showroom in Atlantic City. We'll continue the football conversation coming in next with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's Sixers Raptors tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Quick drives in traffic, spins, keeps it, drives, left hand layup, good. What a remarkable play by Grimes.
It's Sixers Raptors tonight. Coverage begins at 7:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Are you kidding me? He rocks the rim with a right-hand jam.
97.3 ESPN.
Score a huge three-pointer this month during the Matt Blatt Kia Gladness Sale. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months on every new Kia Sportage and Sorento SUV in stock. Here's a steal. Get up to $5,000 more than Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade. For the purchase of any new 2024 Kia with no payments till June. How about a 3-point play? 0 down, 0 payments until June on over 1,100 new Kias in stock, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months, plus 120% more for your trade. Love this, baby, at Matt Blatt Kia in Abington, Egg Harbor Township, and Tom's River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, $13.89 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can't be combined. Trade less miles and dealer recon on new 2024 Kia purchase. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 4/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Tom's River.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. Now through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Required paperless billing and auto pay restored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace.
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
See Joe Coy and friends.
It feels good to laugh. That's why I tell people laugh. It's free. Not tonight. Not tonight, but tomorrow. Like to go laughing.
Don't miss them, Atlantic City. Saturday, October 18th at 7 p.m. Ocean Casino Resort. Tickets on sale Friday, March 14th at 10 a.m. at theoceanac.com. Don't miss Joe Coy and friends.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. I want to remind you to get ready to lace up your running shoes for the 45th annual St. Pat's Boardwalk 10-miler and 5K run this Saturday, March 15th. This exciting event will take place on the Atlantic City Boardwalk with the start and finish line right in front of the Ocean Casino Resort. The St. Pat's Boardwalk 10-miler and 5K run will benefit the Donnie Fund, South Jersey Field of Dreams, and the Greater Atlantic Cancer Fund. Come out and support the great event with me, Josh Hennig, along with the Locker Room with Billy Schwein and the 97.3 ESPN team this Saturday on the Atlantic City Boardwalk. Let's get back to the football conversation now. A man who I'm sure has not gotten a lot of sleep in the last several days, that being AP, senior NFL writer and reporter Rob Maaddi. He joins us now on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, welcome in. How you doing today?
Hey, Josh, what's going on, man? Busy day, obviously. Busy past 2 days. Jets just released C.J. Mosley. That's interesting. Been an All-Pro linebacker, so I hadn't seen that one yet. Some of these, a lot of moves happening, obviously. At one point today, I was like, "Is there anybody left to sign?" And then you go through the list, and there's a whole lot of, obviously everybody's waiting on the quarterbacks with Rodgers and Russell Wilson, but there's still some talent out there for sure.
Well, that's part of the reason why we're going to have you on, because there are some names out there, Rob, that I did want to get your thoughts on. And I wanted to start with this. So on the Pat Leonard podcast, which I'm learning more and more lately. Everyone's got a podcast except for me, Rob. So Justin Simmons, who played with Vic Fangio in Denver for those years, he said that he thinks the Eagles are a team that he is very interested in joining. So I want you to hear what he said, and you can let us know, do you think it's realistic that Justin Simmons could replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Here is Simmons on Pat Leonard's podcast.
Man, there's a lot of good things about Philly. Obviously, I think their offense is clearly one of the most talented in the league. That offensive line is unbelievable. But what the defense did this past season to go win that Super Bowl is crazy. Like, watching those guys operate, you could tell the leadership there, top down, is by far one of the best in the league. So to have an opportunity to go play in Philly, especially reuniting with Vic and CP, like we just talked about, high on the list.
Rob Maaddi's reaction.
Justin Simmons is a high character guy, a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee a few times, and he's been a faith on the field guest several times too. I think he'd be a great fit for the locker room. I don't know how much elite type football he has left. He was a 4-time second team All-Pro for the AP at safety in Denver. Didn't have that great of a season with the Falcons, but depending on what the money looks like, Josh, certainly a guy worth having in the secondary from a leadership standpoint in the locker room. Different vibe than CJ CJ, obviously, we know, is a trash talker or a guy. Like, you're not going to have to worry about Justin Simmons going on a podcast saying anything stupid. You don't have to worry about him having a podcast or anything like that. I didn't see enough high quality football from him last year in Atlanta. There were moments, there were spurts, but also I think it was, it's fit, it's comfortability, it's getting back with, as he was saying, Vic Fangio and the familiarity. It's certainly a 1-year type deal. I don't think it would take a whole lot of money. They've got some internal options, I think, with Sidney Brown, but I would be, and if Brandon Graham isn't going to come back, you need some veteran leadership. Although Justin Simmons hasn't been a Super Bowl champion, hasn't won, I think on that defensive side, he would be helpful just as a guy in the room, based on what I know about him and from the character standpoint.
Well, I know that Slay said on his podcast that he thinks that without him on the team anymore, that he thinks Reed Blankenship is going to be the next leader in the secondary. So maybe pairing Blankenship's leadership with Simmons' leadership might be an option. And by the way, Rob, the other thing is, no offense to Sidney Brown, he is a phenomenal athlete, and I know that the Eagles' evaluation of Brown is that he's a A++ human being, and that's part of the reason why they love him on the organization. Well, he's not a coverage guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson is. Simmons can at least be more of that, like, not literally, but maybe like a center fielder when you play that too high shell and you tell him, hey, drop a little bit, don't have to run around as much.
Yeah, and he knows what those expectations are from Vic Fangio, having played for him. Now, those comments from Slay, because you got to refresh my memories. I've been all over the place. Were those comments from Slay about Reed Blankenship replacing him as a leader what caused GJ to get a little bit annoyed, or did Slay maybe know that Gardner-Johnson's not coming back, and that's why he said it? Was it ever addressed? Wasn't there a thing between the two of them?
All right, so I'm gonna explain. I'm going to answer your question this way. Okay. CJ and AJ both hyper reacted to things on social media like two individuals who don't do a lot of research and then want to call a Philly sports talk station with an opinion. Okay. That's what happened with that.
All right. So, well, CJ's not here anymore. Slay's in Pittsburgh, and AJ's here now. And I still think he stays here, but I also don't think Howie wouldn't listen if the right deal comes along the way. Like we heard last week about the Patriots calling. The Patriots didn't get that receiver they're looking for Drake May yet. They weren't able to make that happen. Now, of course, they could in the draft with the Patriots are at 4. If Travis Hunter's still there and they want to play him at receiver and corner, that could answer that kind of void that they have.
By the way, here's what CJ Gardner-Johnson, Rob, said on his Twitch stream. Okay, for those who don't know, CJ loves to play video games, and he streams while he plays video games and talks to people. So yesterday, this was his response to be getting traded. And I'm just going to say, this doesn't sound like a guy who's got any animosity for the Eagles anymore.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought they were fools. I ain't gonna lie. I saw 3-1. I'm like, this April Fool, they damn sure got me. They playing crazy with me right now. But no, it wasn't no love lost. It wasn't no bad blood. It was a great phone call. Great phone call. It was an amazing phone call to be all the way thorough. Great phone call.
Great phone call from Howie Roseman, the CJ.
No, sorry. Well, it's not. Hey, he's leaving a possibility open that he comes back next year. Yeah, it's every other year with CJ, GJ, and they go to the Super Bowl every other year with them. So why not? But I gotta ask you a question. How do you even that's research? How do you even find CJ Gardner-Johnson speaking on Twitch, let alone get a soundbite of that? How does that come across your attention, Josh?
Because other people find it, they put it on social media, and then it ends up on my feed. Here's the thing, Rob.
Now I feel better. All right.
Mike Gill makes fun of me because I listen to all these player podcasts, but I'm not watching anyone's Twitch streams. Okay, I'm not one of these people who's going to be. I hate the concept of I'm going to watch somebody else do something. I don't get that voyeurism at all.
I don't understand watching anyone play a video game. There are 9 billion things in the world that I would rather do than watch any human play a video game. But it's such a thing, man. It's such a thing that these guys are getting this is their career. I spent time last year at a conference with gamers, and I'm not a gamer at all. And I spoke at this conference, so I don't want to belittle anybody and anything that they do. And it blew my mind that they have a career out of playing video games with people watching them, but then, Josh, people paying them while they're watching them. It's incredible. We live in a world of opportunity, that's for sure.
We live in a world of something. I don't know if it's opportunity, but it's something. Rob Maaddi
trying
joining
to be
us,
nice.
AP senior NFL writer joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Listen, Rob, there's a reason why my favorite scene from any movie is the bad guy scene from Scarface, okay? I always tell people, I'm not a nice guy. I'm a good guy because of God in my heart, okay? I'm not a nice guy, all right? So I always tell the truth, even when I lie, all right? So you can be the nice guy, Rob. I'll be the other guy, all right?
I like that. We definitely have use for you in a lot of ways that way. You always need a good cop, bad cop, Josh.
Since I'm emptying the soundboard of audio on you at this point, Rob, speaking of CJ Gardner-Johnson, I want to ask you, Chris Long has an angle on the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade, and he thinks it's because of Becton, but not the reason why you might think. Take a listen.
You could be feeling like you're going to get Becton, but you want the number to come down a little bit, and this kind of tips the scale in the direction of giving you some leverage. So a good move. And I think you also know, and part of the leverage play is we have Stout. Look what we did for you. We'll do it for him. What makes you special?
Maybe a little message to Becton being like, hey, if you don't want to, we want you here, but we want you at a reasonable number. If you don't want to be here, we got somebody else already ready to take your job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of, it's interesting to me that you're seeing a lot of these offensive linemen sign. I just wrote about Kevin Zeitler from the Lions going to Tennessee on a 1-year, $9 million deal. Now he's a 13-year veteran who started a ton of games in his career, but nobody's made a push for Mekhi Becton. And I think you and I spoke about this last week, where although he had a really good season from his standards and where he'd been and where he come from, being a failed first-round pick, tackle for the Jets, and I think those analytical numbers of the way he performed last year with the Eagles weren't like top-notch elite level. And it surprises me that offensive line needy teams haven't made a push for Mekhi Becton. Look at Houston. They need to protect C.J. Stroud, and all they've done is get rid of offensive linemen. Laramie Tunsil to Washington. Green goes to the Eagles, former number 1 pick. Like, somebody I would have thought by now would have signed Mekhi Becton, which leads me to believe that he wants to. I'm sure he wants to stay in Philly. And I wonder, like, this is an opportunity for him to get paid, but maybe that money's not there. And it would surprise me if he had to prove himself 2 years in a row. But I think there's a little bit in some truth to what Chris Long is saying there, that, hey, we got Jeff Stoutland. He's the MVP of that offensive line. He could take any reclamation project. Shoot, he just did it with Mekhi Becton. Maybe now he could do it with Kenyon Green. And that could kind of maybe be a little bit of a push and get him signed in the door.
By the way, Kenyon Green was a 20-year-old rookie. You got to think that he's maybe a little more developed now, 3-4 years into his career as a man, compared to being the rookie. I mean, I don't know about you, but 20 years old, I couldn't have played in the NFL. That's for sure. A couple more for senior NFL writer Rob Maaddi. What is your take on the Slay to Pittsburgh saga we had this week? The whole, they might have a contract, but they can't agree on something because he was supposed to be a post-June 1st trade designation. Now, all of a sudden, the Eagles decided to release him beforehand so he can go to Pittsburgh. Slay previously said he only wanted to play in Philadelphia or Detroit. Now, all of a sudden, Pittsburgh came out of left field. What is your take on all this?
Yeah, he only wanted to play in Philadelphia or Detroit until the Eagles and Lions didn't want him. And if you want to play, you got to go where a team is willing to pay you. And there's a lot of different nuances, right, with the post June 1st release and the release now and all of that. And that's why we've got this crazy window that started. Like, my busiest day, Josh, actually was Monday, because Monday at noon everything started flying. I'm out writing and nailing this down and talking to people. Like, by today, I'm like, wow, things have really slowed down. Then it started to pick up a little bit, but as soon as that report came out on Monday, I texted Slay's agent, Drew Rosenhaus. He's like, not done yet. So if it's not done yet, if the agent's saying it's not done yet, then it's certainly not done yet. So you go with that and you wait on it. And sometimes there's just final little things here and there that they got to do. And I thought it's been interesting this week. More and more agents want their names on the Twitter X platform.
Yeah, what is that about?
You see the copy and paste, and it's too bad. So here and then, like, I can't do it that way because it's a little. This is like insider journalistic standards and whatnot. But some guys can just post whatever the agent says. Take it, copy it, paste it, post it. Okay. For the AP, if someone is willing to be a source, well, you can't quote someone and then have them be a source. And then you can't say a source said these two guys signed. Oh, by the way, the deal was negotiated by Agent X. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. So it's just funny, the interactions. Like, I'll text an agent back and say, yeah, I can't say it that way. Oh, well, why not? And I'm like, I can't get into it. And he's trying to field phone calls. I'm like, either you're on the record or you're off the record, but you can't be on the record for half of it and off the record for half of it. Like, pick and choose. It just doesn't work that way. So it's been a fun week. And it wasn't Twitter down. X was down on Monday for a few minutes.
I was using Threads on Monday. I was getting all my updates from Threads.
No, man, I gave up on. Like, I was like, oh, this is great. I don't have to pay attention to it. The texts are flying in. I'm getting the text and I'm putting the information out there, and I was happy that way.
Yeah, I was. It was a bit of a back and forth. Mike Gill kept trying to like get on, be like, "Oh, Blue Sky." I'm like, "Nah, I'm on Threads. I'm fine."
Wait, I missed a boat on Blue Sky. I'm not there. I don't even
Listen,
know.
my position is, before I let you go, Rob. My position is I don't need another app on my phone. I don't need another social media platform. I literally take time out of my day to just get off my phone because I have to. I can't take it anymore. I mean, maybe I'm the old man telling people to get off my lawn because I'm going to turn 40 this year. But for me, I just look at social media as like the cesspool of society at times.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like, why do I need another social media platform? I got rid of Snapchat last year. Like I didn't realize I had it on my phone. I deleted that off my phone.
I never had it. But hey, before I go, lead tush pusher AJ Dillon. Like, that's a move for like, you bring in Quadzilla with those quad, he can squat 765 pounds. You could forget about taking carries away from Saquon. Saquon doesn't have to be out there to be the lead tush pusher. AJ Dillon can handle that.
How about this? What we need is Rob Maaddi in the gym with AJ Dillon and Saquon Barkley doing a play-by-play of the workout. That could be a piece for the AP.
I like that. I have done in the gym workouts before and all that stuff. Had to run a 40 on camera. That's a good one. I like that, Josh. Great idea.
Yeah, you take that and run. Just remember
a squat off, right? We'll call it a squat off. Maybe bring Jalen. I mean, Jalen Hurts can squat. What was he, 600? See if
his max was 600. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a squat off. My money's on AJ Dillon.
Maybe if these guys are a little apprehensive about putting too much in the bar, maybe go leg press off instead. Because you can, if you got strong enough legs, you could probably put 800 on there and not got no back problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm with all my injuries, I'm not a squatter. The knees, the back, nothing. I'm not squatting anything, so I can understand if they're not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, maybe you just go, "Hey guys, leg press. Let's leg press this thing." You know,
it's good. It's a good alternative.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, so I mean, I might have a couple of ideas up here. You
know? I think you got a career in training, man.
That's an off-air conversation. He's Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platform. And, of course, don't forget Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, I appreciate the extended time in the conversation.
You got it. Appreciate you, Josh.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN as we wrap up the show on the radio. Dan from EHT chimed in earlier and says off seasons are insane. Players just going here, there. It's ridiculous frenzy. Talent level is like just not sure what you're losing compared to what you're gaining. Thanks, Dan EHT, for chiming in. Steve from Ventnor says AJ Dillon is pretty nimble for a 250-pound running back. Pretty good hands, too. A nice veteran option. Save the draft picks for the O and defensive lines. Tons of trench depth in this year's draft. I tend to agree with that. I think that there's a lot more guys in the trenches that are probably going to be options this year for the Eagles. And like I said, I think they keep that first-round pick because that first-round pick allows them to get that extra time on the contract.
This is South Jersey's radio home for the Eagles.
All right, for the YouTube-only crowd, thank you for watching. Like we try to do these post-show conversations. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Couple things before we bounce out of here. Number one, if you are watching on the YouTube stream and you want to go see the MAC Women's Championship on Saturday, it's a 1:30 tip-off. Just put your full name in the comments if you want to go to the women's game this Saturday at the MAC, and I'll put your name over at Will Call. That's point number one. I forgot to mention that during the radio show. Crazy busy day today. Number two, I want to get to some of your comments on the YouTube side. Really quick pointer on A.J. Dillon. People might not remember this because, it's impossible to remember everything in today's world. So I don't begrudge anybody for not remembering this. But A.J. Dillon, when he came out of college, he was viewed as one of these elite power backs. He was kind of viewed as a guy who, hey, he's strong, he's powerful, he's fast, he's this, he's that. And I remember very distinctly when he was drafted by the Packers, the whole reason why they drafted him was to be a change-up back for Aaron Jones. And now he's leaving one situation where he was the number 2 back and coming to another. So I think that mentality-wise and personality-wise, he is a great fit for Philadelphia, and I think he's going to do very, very, very well here. I don't think people realize that probably the biggest issue with Philadelphia last year was there was a significant drop-off in terms of what you could do. From Saquon Barkley to Kenny Gainwell. No offense to Gainwell, he was a very good blocking running back, and he had good hands out of the backfield. But when you go from a beast like Saquon to a much more smaller man of Kenny Gainwell, you're kind of giving the other team already you're giving the other team the opportunity to basically predict what your play calling is. So I think Dillon allows you to not be so predictable, and that allows you to be not so, hey, I know what they're doing. Gainwell's in the game. You can't do that as much with A.J. Dillon from Dillon to Saquon. So I think that is one of the values of that pick as well. The other thing with the Eagles today is, if I can be blunt, and I mentioned this in passing on the radio, and I'm not trying to call people liars, but I really do hope that the last several days are a great opportunity for people to stop taking everything that people say as gospel, okay? Just because a player says something on a podcast, just because fill-in-the-blank reporter says something, it doesn't mean it's gospel. It doesn't mean it's the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth. So help me God, right? There's nobody in a courtroom. There's no checks and balances for social media. These guys can literally say whatever they want. And I mean whatever they want. And there be no repercussions. The only people who ever get in trouble on social media are the people who are racist, sexist, and xenophobes and terrorists. Nobody actually gets in trouble on social media anymore. And even those categories are fluid, okay? Let's be realistic. Nobody gets in trouble on social media unless someone already has a bias against you and they go out of their way to report you and attack you and come get you. So, these athletes like Micah Parsons, they say whatever they want and there's no consequences. These guys don't lose followers. They don't lose clicks or views. People still keep watching and clicking and liking and sharing and, oh my goodness, did you see so I think that, we saw a lot of reporting in a lot of different directions this week. And I just want to use it as an example to say, listen, I like Slay. I think he's actually a pretty good guy. I look at what he said on his podcast about what his plans were, and I just call for Gazy. there were people who were right for the wrong reasons, like Jordan Schultz. And, it's kind of like, yeah, in the end, he was right, but the way he went about it was completely wrong. You look at a guy like Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, a guy who's got a lot of sources in the league. Some of the stuff that he said changed, not because he was wrong, but because things change, things evolve, things grow. And I just look at this week, and as someone who, I didn't get home till 1 a.m. on Monday, okay? I'm still catching up on sleep from the craziness of Monday. And half the stuff that happened on Monday ended up being absolute fugazi. Absolutely fake, false, misleading, all of it. And it just goes to show you that you really shouldn't judge these teams until things get further along. Again, Howie Roseman has acquired guys at the draft many times. He's acquired guys after the draft. He's acquired guys in all kinds of scenarios, okay? All right, really quick before I get out of here, I wanted to get to Steve on the YouTube channel because I thought he brought up a great point. I see you, Jeff. Let me know if you want tickets to Saturday's Women's Championship Final at the MAC. I know you're a local guy. So, Steve chimes in and says the Eagles have Sidney Brown, Lewis Cine, and they may draft a safety. So, bye-bye, CJ. I think the Lewis Cine one is very intriguing because Lewis Cine was a first-round draft pick. He was a guy who was highly regarded coming out of Georgia, and he had a compound leg fracture. He had an injury that basically got him so far out of the rotation in Minnesota that he lost any opportunity to get his job back. And they basically just completely moved on from him. And so Cine is a guy that if he can show you that he is still a competent and talented player, that he is somebody that you can rely on. And I don't even know if he's necessarily a starter or not, but he could at least maybe a rotation guy with Sidney Brown. As I said, Sidney Brown, he's not a coverage safety. He is a... I'm trying to think the best description for Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown is somewhere of a combination between if Troy Polamalu was more like the Tasmanian devil from Looney Tunes. That's who Sidney Brown is, okay? I genuinely do think that I think Sidney Brown has a lot of potential, but he's not a great coverage guy yet. That's the real reason why Justin Simmons is in that conversation. I think him and Byard are very different. I think Byard was a system player. Simmons has shown the ability to play in different schemes. So I think that's really the difference. No offense to Byard, but he seemed like a guy who only had success in one style of defense. And Terrell Edmonds was just a mistake, honestly. Jeff chimes in and says, who's your pick to win the MAC in Atlantic City? I mean, I think Marist is really underrated. I think Marist is a team that could really shake things up in this tournament. I mean, Siena was going to be my dark horse, but they lost a rider on the last second last night. Iona's got a lot of talent on their team. So it's probably Iona or Marist is probably going to win the whole thing. And then on the women's side, I'm going to assume it's going to be a Quinnipiac Fairfield final. And whoever loses that game is probably going to get an at-large bid. That's how good the women are. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, watching my YouTube channel, at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And we'll be back tomorrow right here for more conversations about Philly sports and more on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, and live right here on my YouTube channel, at Josh Hennig. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow.